How was the panel?
The panel was great. I really love the panelists with all, they have data and research. It's really usually fun to listen and participate.
We came close to the entrance, but the headphones were all in use, so we could not attend. So we have to watch the recording because it is recorded.
Okay.
So we couldn't be there, but we'll look at it afterwards.
Okay. All right.
Christine.
Yeah?
Christine Kamau, welcome to Jazzahead 2024.
Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure having you here. Thank you for making the time
thank you.
to answer a few questions that we got for you. So,
all right.
To start off, we'd like to start talking a little bit about your musical journey and how you began. Because we read that you started with classical piano.
Yes.
And later transitioned to trumpet.
Yes.
Right? So what sparked that change, and how did it set your path to jazz?
My life has just been full of what they call serendipity, just beautiful coincidences. So I started with classical music because that was what was available in the music school in the town where I lived in. And for a long time, I wanted to be a classical pianist. I loved Chopin and Schumann, and I would just see myself on stage playing classical music for the rest of my life. And in the course of doing my music lessons in classical music, I was doing these graded exams, and I had to prepare a piece, three pieces, and one of the pieces was I got rhythm by George Gershwin, which is in the jazz style, and then there was Beethoven and Chopin, all of that. And I had a new piano teacher from the States who at that time I didn't know, but he played jazz and also taught classical music. So in my head I was going for classical music lessons, and when I played for him this piece, I got rhythm by George Gershwin. He told me, leave classical music alone, you have an artist vibe, let's do jazz. And that's when we did the switch, and he's the guy who taught me jazz like from scratch, like voicings and all the theory and all of that. And I'd been picking up trumpet. So I was doing trumpet like as my second instrument. It was not going to be my main instrument. But after doing this jazz music lessons and being introduced to music and composing by this new music teacher, I started writing music, and the music I was writing was better suited for the jazz, for the trumpet. So that's how I got into to where I am right now. Yeah.
So was that a fast transition? Because from classical to jazz, like it sounds like it was like in the snap of a finger, and you were there.
Not really. It was a process. But the transition did happen. Yeah.
Do you still dabble a little bit with classical music?
I love classical music. I listen. I still play my pieces. I think it was a great foundation. Yeah.
So talking a little bit about your heritage, your Kenyan heritage, which is rich, of course, and how has it woven itself in your jazz compositions, and can you give us an example of how that took place?
Number one, as a Kenyan, I've grown up listening to our music, our songs, singing our... Like we have things called the Kenya Music and Drama Festivals, which you do if you're in the public school system from when you're young to high school. So I have that, like I'd say, in my blood, that the Kenyan music heritage. So when I started doing jazz, fusing both of those was like a natural thing because I'm a Kenyan and those sounds are like inside my vibes, I would say.
Right.
So it's been a very natural process. I've not had to think about it. It's just like naturally sort of mixed itself together into the compositions that I write.
And have you ever, how does that relate to classical music? Or was that not really blended in back then?
I think classical music was just an excellent foundation of technique, of reading music, and I think I can say it was a good foundation for the rest of the other stuff to happen.
So your album, This Is For You.
Yes.
A beautiful blend of jazz with benga and rhumba.
Yes.
And what's the story behind the creation of that album, and what does it mean to you personally?
And who is it for? Who's the you?
It's for everyone. Everyone who comes across that music is for you. So you don't skip it. You have to listen to it because it was made for you.
A gift.
You can plug it a bit to the camera. Listen to it. No skips.
Yes, no skips. So This Is For You I would just say, inspiration. Like all these songs just came to me, the melodies came to me, and I wrote like a tribute to Huma Sekela, a tribute to just the culture in Kenya. So benga is actually pop music from the 1940s and 60s in Kenya. It's like fast-paced guitar riffs, and it's the music that a lot of Kenyans, if they hear that sound, they're gonna stand up and start dancing.
Right.
So that's what you want, right?
Exactly, that's what you want. So it's a nice fusion of jazz, which if you look originally, that's what jazz music used to do when it started. Jazz would play and people would get up
dancing,
and start dancing. Yeah. So we have those two similarities in culture with the Black American music and benga music in Kenya.
So I suppose in the creation of such an album and in your endeavors as a performer of your music, there must be a lot of collaboration as well, and that seems like a significant part of your musical expression as well, and particularly noted in your travels to Addis Ababa.
Yes.
So to work with Ethio-jazz musicians.
Yes.
Could you share a highlight of those cross-cultural exchanges?
Yes, I've had the privilege of going to different countries in Africa. I think most significantly was to Ethiopia. Ethiopian traditional music has jazz scales. A lot of other cultures might not have that, but it's the craziest thing about Ethiopian music. Like the music from long time ago has those diminished dominant 7, minor 7 scales, like the ones that they have in jazz in their own music. So it's something that really intrigued me, and I wanted to go spend time, understand their music, just the music theory of their music and just their culture. And I think it's one of the most life-changing experiences I had in Ethiopia. I worked with various musicians. I went to this jazz club called African Jazz Village. It's founded by Mulatu Astatke, who was the first African to attend Berkeley.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I played with musicians there, and it was a really life-changing experience.
Fantastic. And Isn't it interesting how so I suppose like all these technical things about the music that you can very well put into table. Oh, this is a diminished chord, That's just part of the culture of the place and how they play. And maybe they have to think a little bit less about it. Just of natural form of expression, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the craziest thing about them, Yeah.
Do you remember how did you take all of this experiences to the various countries, and just how do you get that together to become an actual album?
I think it's very natural. As an artist, it's important to really be in different scenarios, different cultures, and you just absorb it, and it naturally comes out. I do not have a method behind the madness. I'll let you know. My work is just to travel, absorb, and I know somehow I'll write a song that will reflect that experience. So that's how I would phrase that.
It's a good relation to how then the album is called This Is For You.
Yeah.
Good one.
Absolutely. Talking about participating in UNESCO's Roundtable on Jazz Women in Africa.
Yeah.
That must have been a profound experience.
Yes.
What were some of the key takeaways for you, and how have they influenced your role in the jazz community?
That was a really nice roundtable where they put women from Anglophone part of Africa together, women in jazz, and women from the Francophone part of Africa together. They had their own roundtable, and we were just discussing our experiences as women jazz musicians in Africa, how we can, have better representation and visibility for ourselves. I'd say it had a positive impact because it was featured on the UN main homepage platform, and
that's big.
It was big, and we appreciate that interest by UNESCO for jazz women in Africa.
How is that with the panel discussion you just had? Do you see similarities? Is it something that grew out of what happened with UNESCO first?
Actually, yes. And the interesting thing is, like, whenever we have these women in jazz panels, it's the same situation in different cultures, It's like whatever the women from Denmark or Sweden are saying was relating to what we did what we spoke about at Jazz Women in Africa. So it's interesting.
Can you give us a short summary of what was discussed in these panels?
Yes. For today, we're mostly talking about how in the jazz world you have for jazz women, you have lack of peers, which for me was one of the biggest challenges I had growing up being a jazz musician in Kenya. Is there's not really a lot of other women who are playing jazz, playing instruments. Same thing they were saying here that I don't remember if this is Netherlands or Switzerland, so do not really take this data as perfect. I'm just reporting what I remember. But they're saying like in the performance world here, you have about 20% of the performers are female and 80% are male. So it's the same case that we have back home. So I'd say that was what I saw as a similarity.
And now we're here at Jazzahead 2024.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for such an event? And in your opinion, what's the difference between such an event, such a showcase event, a very predominant and important event, compared to other gigs that you have? How do you go about it from a creative standpoint?
This is a major platform because this is. Honestly, I do not know any other event like Jazzahead, an event that brings all these different stakeholders in the jazz world together, and you get to meet and interact with them. So I'd say for me, how I prepared is I had a showcase which was quite advantageous, which I played last night. And when I came, it's just reaching out to people saying, "Hey, I have a showcase. Come in and watch my music." That's it. That's how you. How else would you prepare? Is just look through all the list of the people who are attending, see who you can work with and reach out to them first. Don't wait for nobody to be looking for you.
That's a really proactive way of going for it. When you enter the stage here at Jazzahead, how does that feel? Does that feel different? Because I mean, the audience, basically, the whole venue is filled with experts.
Let me tell you, the vibe at the stage at Kultur, I can't pronounce the second name because it's a serious German word.
It's going to be Schlachthof.
Schlachthof.
But Kulturzentrum is absolutely fine.
It's an easier word for me. The vibe was great, and in fact, even right from soundcheck, all the stage personnel was so helpful. So we started off on a right vibe. The audience was appreciative. In fact, my band from Kenya was like, you can feel the audience listening to you, which is crazy. Like, you really feel the love and the attention to the art. So thank you everyone who came to our show yesterday. We love you all.
Fantastic. So, lyricism.
Yeah.
You have lyricism in your music, and in jazz that can be an expressive tool. Mm-hmm. And how do you approach incorporating lyrical elements to your music, and why is it important to you?
Well, for me, I'd say I have a few things to say, so it's important to write them down. I sing in Kiswahili, which is the official language of Kenya, and I sing in another language known as Luo. I'm not a native Luo speaker, but I sing in that particular language, and mostly I just sing about people having to have a good time and enjoy yourselves. So yeah.
Oh, cool. And talking about your performances, you performed on international stages, and you've been around, definitely. And can you tell us about one performance that was particularly impactful for you as an artist?
So the one that changed everything, maybe.
One of my own shows.
A pivotal one. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know the crazy thing is I usually appreciate every moment I have to blow my trumpet on stage. I do not have now this is, I don't want to mention any festival, but I'd say this, and this is how I've been from when I was young. I appreciate every single stage I am on. I can't say that there's a particular stage that I played and... No, I appreciate every opportunity I have, honestly, yeah.
Maybe from a sense of development that you had an experience where you were like, okay, this is me, this is the way to go.
All of them have been contributing to that. Yeah, there's none that I can. Yeah,
fair point. I suppose the stepping stones and constant development as an artist. And, fantastic.
That's what makes you you.
Yeah. So, coming back to Jazzahead, as you said, it's a place of many experts in the jazz scene, peers as well, people who respect and appreciate good music.
Yeah.
And as you present your work here, what are your main goals? Do you have main goals, and why is this platform important for your growth?
For me, the first thing that I wanted to get out of Jazzahead was awareness of my music and my artistry, because this is the first time I'm performing in Europe. I've never come to Europe with my band to perform. So
first time.
It's first time to perform in Europe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Very
I think positivity all the way. Thank you, Europe. You did well.
Yeah. So basically, the awareness for people to know there's this artist from Kenya. She plays trumpet. She exists. You know, you need awareness precedes everything else. You know, once people know about your music and they have footage of your performance, then it's gonna build up to other shows and other whatever opportunities that are there. So for me, my main goal for coming to Jazzahead was awareness of my existence. Yeah.
Christine.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your presence and for your time and sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and your goals. Fantastic to hear them. We have one last question.
Okay.
Looking into the future.
What does the future hold?
Yeah. Looking to the future. What are your dreams, your goals, your music career? Can you share any news regarding upcoming tours or music? Things that you're excited about and can share with us.
Yes, so guys, 2024, I have a new project coming out. It's called But I'll Try. You will have to listen to that music. I know you will hear about it somehow, somewhere, but that's coming out in 2024. And my plan is I want to come and tour Europe again this year. So I hope from Jazzahead, I'm going to be able to make something happen towards that. So those are the two main things: to perform in Europe again this year, and But I'll Try. Keep that in your mind. It's coming out 2024.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and hope you enjoy Jazzahead 2024.
Thank you.